can't start with how are you, because you know how I am. If it was someone else asking me, I'd say, I'm good, thank you. How are you? And I'd deflect and throw the question back. I don't think the internet could actually handle how I am. I am tired. I'm really tired. I'm okay. Yeah, well, it's not June. I used to say that I appreciated my life and like the rainbows and the butterflies, and I'd always look up because I knew what the worst days of my life looked like and felt like, and it's like the appreciation that I had for my life after walking through hell is like nothing else will ever compare to those hard days. And then you get thrown some more and some more and some more. And with time, you have perspective and you have lessons, and it's like, even in some of those moments where I thought that I wasn't going to be able to get back up, I still know now nothing will ever be as hard as 2 or 3 years ago, and those days really were the hardest days of my life. And so even after the past 6 months of literally nearly not being able to get back up, knowing that on an emotional level, I would have preferred to have lived the last 6 months than 2 or 3 years ago, there's a sense of like, everything will be okay, because that nothing could compare to that. I feel like it's given me greater awareness and empathy and understanding and compassion, better understanding of myself. But I guess as well, like, I'm really proud that I was able to somehow get back my life, but I don't know if my life will ever be the same. It'll be a new version of what my life was, and I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. I think that in order for us to have a different way of living, the old has to be replaced, and we can't ever actually go back to the way that things were. We live in a world and a society where it's like, give, 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 and our nervous system is in this sense of fight or flight, that when we're already running on zero and we've got nothing left to give, we have to get up and go, and we have to do it because there's no one else. And it's like the straw breaks and everyone's like, oh my God, Mum's down. And it's like, yeah, I've been down for a while, guys. If I could have just laid down and slept for a year, that would have been the best possible medicine for me, but I couldn't. And when I say I couldn't, I genuinely couldn't. I've got 4 kids. I'm a mum. I chose to have my children. I love my children. I chose to be their mum. I would never, ever take that back. And with that comes great responsibility. For me, it was never about the possessions, and it was never about my house. It was about what it represented for me. And I had anchored my safety in the world in my home. And I had gone through a very traumatic few years, and this house meant so much to me in relation to regulating my nervous system. And having that ripped from underneath you is a feeling that I don't wish upon anybody, but also in the same breath, Having the awareness to never anchor your sense of safety in a place, in a person, in a state that could be taken. The ability to be able to regulate and self-regulate internally is something that every human needs to be able to do. My health has been really fragile the last few months, to say the least. It's been really hard. In a matter of seconds, if you don't have your health, you have nothing. And I mean that, and I know that that's such a massive statement and a massive call to make, but I still will stand by it that if you don't have your health, you have nothing. You'll do anything to get your health back, and it's like sometimes so out of your hands and out of your control. And whether you believe in God or anything, it's like when you don't have your health, who are you praying to? Regardless, there's someone, I promise you that. And I always talk about total health throughout the bod, and I always have, is that if you don't have your fitness, your physical health, your mental health, if you don't have your overall well-being, you have nothing. You can't read, you can't think, you can't grow, you can't parent, you can't actually logically and rationally make decisions from a place of being like, I am grounded, I am stable, my nervous system is calm, I'm sleeping. When I say that your total health is everything and it's really important, it is so critical. And if you don't actually make time to ensure that your health is 100%, your body or life will force you to take that time. And I think that time and time again, especially as women, our lives and our lifestyles have become so hectic, and very rarely do we stop and go, oh, am I living a life that I want, that I'm in charge, that I'm actually driving, that I'm taking ownership of where I want to go and where I want to be, or is life actually taking charge of me? And I think that's really important, is that we can always remember that we are in charge of our own life, but how often do we stop and reflect and actually sit and go, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? What are my new goals? How can I move the needle, so to speak, towards that goal instead of it just taking its own direction? So I guess the person I was 6 months ago to the person I am today is an entirely different person that has a newfound awareness and gratitude for the absolute necessity of total health. When life's just hard, you instinctively are not online, and then you jump back online, but it's the end and you're like, I'm good now, but you skip that middle bit, the hard bit where it's like so uncomfortable to watch and so uncomfortable to see, and people don't want to see that. I don't want to sit here and pretend like it has been an easy journey. But the harsh reality is I actually don't believe that social media could have faced what my reality was every day for 3 months. There's a part of me that wanted to wait to be able to film anything or to be able to show up because I wanted to be stronger. I genuinely believe that in those moments, there isn't a camera, but I think that the strength is in the vulnerability, and that stronger is sharing this. And I think that being vulnerable and being able to be in the thick of it and actually show up and share that critical element that online we rarely see, because we see the before and the after, is strength. And whilst there is so much strength in being vulnerable, there's times where over the last 6 months, it wasn't just days, there was weeks where I was like, I don't know how I can get through this. And they're genuine thoughts, beliefs, and it took a lot of strength, and it took a lot of the right tools and a lot of daily habits and choices in order for me to get back to the position I'm in today. I was working 20 plus hours a day, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that, is I would work 2 full days through the night. I would go straight to the treatment and have treatment. I would then sleep for 2 to 3 hours, and I'd come straight back and I'd do it again. Every day I've chosen the hardest thing that I can do on my to-do list, and I did that first. Hardest thing, what is it? Choose it, do it. Logging offline allowed me the ability to actually come back to self and to actually reflect on what I wanted and why I was showing up online, and whether it was done with ego in mind or authenticity. And I think that for me, I needed that, and that's the first time and the longest time that I have ever been offline in like 10 years. And I think often I overgive, and I say that lightly, but I have overgiven a lot online, and I have shown up, and I needed to pull it right back and go, what am I okay with? And even determine if I wanted to ever get back online, and if so, in what capacity. It's not just me who's feeling like this, and I do believe that there's going to be a woman who's watching this at home who is quietly breaking, and when everybody asks her how she is, she smiles and says, I'm doing good. Setting up a really clear boundary and support network is so fundamental. And I say that from a place of being a self-recognized, hyper-independent woman. I really struggle to ask for help. I think it's really critical to understand what support looks like for you and how you can best be supported, because it's going to look different for everybody. I feel a lot of pain and grief for, I think, the world and the reality that I believed or perceived would be there in a time of crisis. I know for myself, I would rather have one person in my life that supports me how I need than 50,000 friends who support me in ways that are not useful. There's so much evidence that suggests that people that feel loneliest are actually never alone. It's when they're in the company of the wrong people that they feel lonely. And I am saying these words quite frivolously, but it's like, you think about being low, I almost didn't get back up. I've never stopped believing that women are the change for the future. The BOD's mission and purpose has always been the same. It's always been to help women. It's never wavered from that. It's never changed. And I genuinely want women to be able to live their most fulfilling lives. And I think that if anything, this season has strengthened that I know that the tools and resources that I have and that I'm providing within the BOD actually work, and that the total health and encompassing health of mental clarity, sleep, your relationship quality, your connections, your mind, the way you speak to yourself, all of that is just as important as your workouts, your nutrition, your recipes. And I think that if anything, it's strengthened my passion and my purpose, and the ability to want to show up for those women, especially when I mentioned being online, it can be quite hard. And it's like, no, if I just think about helping one woman, I'm fine. For women that are really struggling and they are in their hardest season or they're in the thick of it, I think there is, like everything, a degree in which we can be struggling. And I would really encourage that if you are watching this and you are really struggling, you can identify that you are not okay, please reach out for support. And there are so many different services in Australia, including a text service for Lifeline. Reaching out to somebody for support is not weakness at all, and that building that support network is really critical. Now, I'm going to go all the way to the other end. If you feel like you are on top of the world and that life is amazing, do the same thing. Build that support network now, so that if you are ever in a situation where you're really struggling and really low, you know what that support network looks like. And then in the middle, if you can identify that you're in the thick of it and you are struggling, but you're not at the point of really needing critical help, just do 3 things. 3 bare minimum things that you can do today that you know will help you tomorrow. This NLP mindset compilation, I'm going to call it, is so fundamental in every single thing that you do in your life. And I think that over the last 6 months, it's been really highlighted to me the importance of having a really clear mind and knowing exactly and having that awareness as to why you are doing what you are doing in certain behaviors, situations, the language you're using, whether you're self-sabotaging or you're being mean to yourself. If you're not reaching your goals, if you're unhappy in your relationship, if you're struggling to lose weight, whatever it is that is holding you back in your life, or whatever areas, every single thing has to do with your mind and your mindset. And I mean that so broadly, because I promise you, there has been certain situations and circumstances that has happened over the last 6 months that I would have never considered being able to utilize NLP resources or tools to be able to help me get through. And that's been the only thing to be able to help me get through. And I know that this book is so big, like it is so big, it is so big. But I know that just one chapter of this book would help you immensely, and it will change your life. And I say that without any hesitation or resistance, that if you actually just did one of these chapters, it'll change your life. And I think that the biggest thing that is really important for me is that women are proud when they look in the mirror, because if we can build a generation of women that are really proud of themselves, it's not only going to help the next generation, but it's also going to shape everybody else around us and the society that we live in today. If anything, over the last 6 months, I've gone from being really numb to feeling a lot. I've got a lot of feels. Yeah, I can do hard things. So many hard things. I can do so many hard things.